Ahoy there, YouTube! We're back again for more of our Gencon Bonanza Explosion blog coverage, brought to you by our amazing Kickstarter backers. You all rock. Thank you so much. And also these spectacular companies here who donated games so we would be able to go here, run our Kickstarter. And of course, our sponsors, Taste Dimensional Games, who sponsors everything we do, and Minion Games, who has a whole bunch of cool stuff coming out later this year. Right now, though, we're here with Todd from AEG, and we're going to talk about this gigantic box over here.
This massive
Thunderstone Quest.
Product.
And this is on Kickstarter. Just give us the whole deal.
Okay, so Thunderstone Quest was on Kickstarter last year, and it was a really big success for us. And we chose to bring it back to Kickstarter this year, and it is currently running. It's doing amazing again for us. But now what we've introduced to Thunderstone is a new mode that will come with the game for people who back it the second time. People who backed it the first time can now just get only the edition as well. So if you got the game before, you can get the add-on. If not, you can buy the entire thing right at once on Kickstarter. You can back it right now. Now, what Thunderstone is, it is a deck-building game of dungeon adventure. It was one of the very early deck builders when deck builders began, but this is now essentially what we would call the third edition of it. It has a lot more variety to it now in the way that you move about the dungeon, the way you fight the monsters, the way you collect and level up your heroes, the way you get treasure. It has guilds and side quests and all kinds of fun stuff going on now. People have really been enjoying it. It's a big game to get into. And what's really cool with the current Kickstarter, the new thing we're introducing is called the Barricades mode. Now in Barricades mode, it provides a co-op and solo variant for the game, where you can not necessarily work against each other, but work together. And then it also provides a solo game where the monsters are actually leaving the dungeon and attempting to attack the village, and they will then begin to deny you abilities if they're able to destroy more and more of the village. But you're able to also build barricades in the village to protect your cards that you want to buy later from the monsters. So it provides a lot more variety. It also introduces several new monster groups and heroes and different things like that to the game, as well as a whole extra quest, which is basically like an expansion for the game in it now, which is up to its 6th one at this point.
So, what all is in the box? Like,
okay,
just I mean, not the actual components, but what is in there? How many?
So when you get the whole box, you get enough for I want to say 6 people to play. Could be 4, but I believe it's 6. You get all the starter cards. You get 5 sets worth of monsters. Now that it means there'll be like 2 or 3 monster families per set, and you have an ongoing campaign adventure you can play. You have the boards for the village and for the dungeon and everything that comes out there. You have all the tokens that represent different things you can collect. You have treasure decks, guild decks, all these other cards that can change and focus the way you play the game. You can play through it in the campaign mode, or you can just mix and match the cards and play them how you want. And what was funny was a few years ago with the original Thunderstone, people created a variant at home called Epic Thunderstone, where instead of having the stacks of cards, you just shuffle everything together. When you back the Kickstarter, we have an add-on for Epic Thunderstone Quest, which basically gives you an extra copy of every card already set aside for Epic, so you don't have to mess up your stacks or change up your other and sit here, divide it. You can just bust out that box and play Epic, and then put it away and play the normal game.
Epic's the way to go.
Epic's super fun. I love Epic. So.
And this is on Kickstarter right now. You said, what's the Kickstarter price? Do you know?
The Kickstarter price is, I want to say $1 to $150. Okay. It is currently funded. We're already way into the stretch goals right now. So if you get on board, you're getting everything. And people who back now who didn't back it the first time will get all of the stretch goals and the stuff that came in the first Kickstarter as well.
Fantastic. That is Thunderstone Quest, and that is just an absolutely massive box. Lots of good stuff going on in there. It looks like my favorite cup of tea. Be sure to check that one out. Be sure to check out the Kickstarter as well. We'll see if we can post a link down below as well. If you enjoyed this Gencon coverage, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. And in the comments below, let me know, what is your heaviest board game box that you have?
The heaviest one that I currently have is, in fact, Thunderstone Quest. I did buy a back brace for bringing it in because I knew, because I'd worked on it. When it arrived at my house, I put the thing on, carried it into the den, promptly handed it to my 10-year-old and watched him fall over backwards with it. It was super fun.
I think mine is probably Aeon's End, maybe? I have all the expansions in one box, or maybe Scythe, but I don't have all the expansions there. But let me know in the comments below, or Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition with all the expansions. No, it's TI3. But let me know in the comments below, what is your heaviest game box? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.